So there was a class I attended, not in university. No, it wasn't really a seminar. It was more of an online class. And after the class, I didn't really understand much of what was taught. But later on, when I started reading up, doing research on those things that were taught, I realized that there was a lot I didn't know. There was a conversation that we were never invited to. The conversation that I was not invited to, the conversation we were not invited to. And that conversation is very important because it helps you understand professional leverage and how compensation works. So in this video, I'm going to help decode how the written rules of professional leverage and compensation. So usually when you're about to pick a career path, you look at your passion, you look at your strengths, you look at what works for other people. But the passion talk, the follow your strength talk, the good job talk is a deliberately incomplete fragment designed to keep most people operating at the lowest level of their potential. What does this mean? It means that you've been taught to look at it from this lens because it just pushes you in a linear direction that you see only the lowest level and you don't even know your total potential. So in your mind, this direct path or this singular path is the one you should be following. Meanwhile, there's a three-legged stool that you should be using to decide which career path you want to get into. And there's now an incomplete conversation, which is the game that you've been sold, and the reality where you don't see because it's a missing reality. So in the incomplete conversation, you are talking about your passion, the known paths, the qualifications that everyone has, and finding someone to employ you, working hard and hoping it compounds. So this incomplete conversation only addresses what you should do. It says nothing about the league you should be playing in. So for example, if you are a professional football player, obviously your aim should be playing at the highest league. But if you are oblivious to you being in a low league and you now becoming a best player in that league, now in your mind you are doing the right thing, you are achieving your potential. But if you are gone to a higher league, then you see that you are just an average player and you try to up your game to meet up to the standard of that league. So a big fish in a small pond thinks is mighty, but if you carry that fish into the sea, it sees that it's a very, very vast ocean around it. So the first leg, or should I say pillar one, is vocation. And what is vocation? Most times when we talk about vocation, people think that it is equal to skill, but it is not. You see, you are taught to develop one skill in isolation. Say, go and learn web design, go and learn copyright, go and learn engineering. But those skills in isolations, they do not actually move the market. If you want to go into the real market and not the illusion of the market you have been given. So those individual skills do not get compensated. They are not compensated very well. Skill is what you can do, while vocation is the combination of your skills to produce a result. So skill is focused on inputs, while a vocation is focused on outcomes, outputs. So the next time you sit to think about the career path to follow, you have to think about the outcomes instead of what you are imputing. When you know the outcome, you know the things that you should be imputing. So just like I just said, vocation is focused on outcomes, while skills are focused on incomes. So outcomes, you should choose outcomes over isolated skills. And here's an example of interception. So writing is a skill. A writer has a skill. Strategy is a skill. A strategist has a skill. Psychology is a skill. Psychologist has a skill. But someone who can combine all of them now, someone who can read human behavior, that is psychology, someone who can construct a narrative around it, writer, and someone who can use that narrative to move people towards a decision, and that's a strategist. So we see that combining all of them, that is what creates a vocation. Instead of you thinking that the single skill is a vocation, no. You combine all of them to create the vocation. And that is how you should be thinking when you want to choose a career path. Because a vocation is a unique intersection of everything you can do that produces something the market genuinely needs and cannot easily find elsewhere. So your unique skill set that you combine helps you create something that the market needs. And that thing now cannot be easily found somewhere else, because the skills you are combining is very different from the skills that other people provide or are combining outside. So that is how you know how to create or to choose the right vocation for yourself. So moving on to the next pillar, the next leg of the stool, we have location. So location is very important. Now, these days, we think that it is not as important as it was before. And in a way, it is true, but a physical location is also important. Because your market and your physical locations, yes, they are two separate things. The same vocation, skill, combination, and outputs is not worth the same amount everywhere. We know that. We know that the same thing that you do for Nigeria for pennies, if you go to other countries and you do it, you get compensated very well. And most times you don't really need to go to those places to be actually exposed. But going there physically is a very huge advantage. In fact, it's important. Start looking at it as a very, very important thing for you to be in that physical location. In as much as not being physically there, you can still be in that location because of the digital world. So, geography actually shapes the room you can be in. So yes, you can be exposed to compensation from those outside forces, but your geography, your physical location actually shapes the rooms you can be in physically. You know, for you to actually become that big dog, that big fish, you have to be able to physically stand, to be physically rub shoulders with the people you are trying to compete with. So that physical location is just as important as your virtual location, or even more important. So you see that your market dictates how you are compensated. If you price your vocation exclusively for your local market, you leave serious leverage on the table. And this is specifically for my Nigerian audience. If you are focused too much on your local market, then you start to leave much money on the table. So this is also important to note. If you are in a physical location with your market, it's actually easier to sell to people, because no matter how things change, that physical one-on-one interaction is very, very important. So yes, take your location very serious. And we know that the hub of many things, the financial hub of Nigeria is Lagos. That's why you see many people flocking to Lagos. Sometimes they are not aware of these things, but they just do it subconsciously because they see others doing it. But this is the reason why many people do it, because they have to be in that location. So when you combine vocation and location, you see that you start earning at a particular way that others who just focus on one thing cannot earn. So that brings us to the last part, or the last leg of the stool. And this is expression, or as my mentor John Wodi call it, the levels of expression. So we have level 1, just doing. Doing, that is, you have the skill, you are just doing. You are hoping that what you have done now will speak for itself. You know those people that say their work will speak for their work will speak for them. Yes, your work can actually speak for you, no doubt. But it's also important for you to speak for your work. So moving from there, now we now go to the second level, which is showing. So after you've done, you now show. So the doing now, you are in your house, you are doing your work for different people, you do it and give to them. Showing now, which is the level that we see everywhere now, where you post it on social media, you show people your work. So now showing the work and letting it, this is the point, you can let it speak for itself because you've shown it to people. So you have the proof now, but the thing that you lack in this level is your positioning. You are just showing them your work. So if you see an artwork, you know this art is very expensive. If you are not into the art world and someone just shows you the art, yes, it looks beautiful for you, but you don't know the worth because there's no positioning. But if I show you an artwork and I explain to you what the artwork is about, the history of the artwork, then you start to understand the value, which moves on to the next level, the body of work. See, building a cohesive portfolio that creates a reputation before you even enter a room. So this is a combination of all your work, all the work that you are showing. So you put them together into a portfolio. That's into a body of work. But yes, that is it's a good level of expressing your work, but it is not the highest level. And the highest level now we have is narrative, or as I call it, positioning. So positioning is you owning the narrative. You, specifically combining some skills that makes you feel utterly, irreplaceable. So this is basically talking about how you show people that this is what I can do. They already know what you can do. They have seen the level of your work. But now you now repackage it in a way that they have not seen before. So this narrative or positioning is basically repackaging your work in a way that other people cannot package it. So even though you create the same level of value, because of the way you've packaged it, the perceived value of your own work skyrockets, it improves, it becomes bigger. And that is the importance of level of expression. So like I just said, packaging, you see, identical abilities but different lives. Let's look at an example now. Consider two experts, both understand audiences and produce great work. One is a digital marketing consultant with a powerful personal brand and authority. The other is still explaining what they do as a networking service, as a networking event rather. So what this is now saying is that the first person has packaged his work together and has now positioned himself to be a digital marketing consultant. So you know that this person does everything about digital marketing. In as much as he might not do everything, but in your head, anything that has to do with digital marketing, this is the person you need to go to. But this other person now, maybe he said, I'm a copywriter. They now ask, what is a copywriter? He explains, I'm a brand strategist. What is a brand strategist? He explain. But this person now is just saying he's a digital marketing consultant. He owns his own digital marketing consultancy. And that now shows that this first person now will be more valued than the second person. The first person now will be paid 10 times, if not 100 times more than the second person. But both of them have the same skills. Both of them do the same thing. Both of them might even be in the same environment. But the level of expression, the packaging. So the work is not what separates there. It is the expression of the work, the level of expression, just as I've said. So I've explained each leg of the stool, the vocation, the location, and the expression, the level of expression. So the vocational, the specific rare intersection of your skills and what the market wants. The location is the positioning for the high paying markets, going to physical locations or even online, building a personal brand. And the expression is packaging it to make you irreplaceable. So there's a multiplier effect when you combine each of them. Remember I said most people focus on one or two, but the sweet spot is when you focus on all three of them. It's not addition, it's multiplication. You see, when you have vocation and location without expression, you are just multiplying. Let's say this is 2, 2, 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. But okay, this has more value. Let's say this is 4. So this is 2, 2, 4. So 2 times 2 is 4. Someone that has level of expression, although the person must have vocation and location. Let's say his vocation and location 1, 1, but he has 4. So we now see that it still has the same amount of the person that has 2, 2. So we see that it is important to have vocation, location, expression. Sorry, I went, I don't even know where I went with that math, but math is my taste and sometimes to explain it gets confusing, but I'm sure you get my points. So the vocation times your location times your expression. This combination produces the kind of career most people only see from the outside and describe as luck. So when we see people that make it, when we see people that they are overnight successes, we don't know that these people have actually looked at these three things and have combined them so judiciously that because of the combination of all three, that it starts to look like luck. So this is a wake up call for you. If you want your own career to look like luck, you have to be able to make the right decisions for each of these three and combine them together, not just making individual right decisions. You have to combine them together very well. So, you've now been invited by me to the conversation that you have never heard before. I know you weren't in the room, but now you are. Wodi Diepreye. This is just one of my thoughts. If you like videos like this, you like mindset shifting contents, do well to follow this page. So like and tell me what you think about this video in the comment section. So if you want some other videos to help you see things from a different angle, go and check out my channel. So thank you and see you next time.